Alright, so I don't know how long this video is gonna be, but this is quite an embarrassing statement to make, but yesterday I had to put a couple things together. I'm working on a Damascus Rage Taj. That'll be up in a few days from now. I'm working on a couple other things at the moment as well, but it's now Friday. Usually, I'm pretty sure they said sometime this week we were supposed to get an update, but it's Friday, it's past 2 o'clock, and we haven't gotten anything. So I don't really know what's going on. I don't know if there's an update coming today. If not, well then rip. If there is, then I'll cover it tomorrow, I guess. I don't know if I'll put it in the intro here, but I made a little intro for one of the videos that I'll put up eventually with some of the search and destroy highlights and stuff. Search and destroy, it's not even about like half of the clips that you hit on search. It's more so about people's reactions to what you're hitting is what makes it fun as fuck. So with me switching up my diet a little bit here and there, it's nothing crazy or anything like that either. It's not like I'm like starving myself or some shit like that. Like, it's a good diet. And anything else, I've talked to like a nutritionist and shit, you know, what we should try to stick to and all sorts of stuff like that. I'm cool, all the balance and shit like that, because I know every time someone even talks about diets and shit, there's always health freaks that fucking start coming out the goddamn woodwork talking about this work, that work, this is the problem with this diet, this is the problem with that. We get it, we know. Anyway, this is what's been working for me. So, I've been trying to learn how to cook myself a couple things, so I don't have to worry about Alexis having to be there to try to cook this shit all the time for me. And it's not like I can't cook anything for myself within that diet, it's just, if I don't want to keep eating the same shit over and over again, I gotta learn a bit. So as a part of this better eating type of shit, I've recently been eating like a lot of different things like that come in jars, some sauces and other things like that to help with, you know, a lot of the flavoring and all sorts of shit like that, because a lot of the stuff is pretty dull until you can get some sort of seasoning that fits within that whole, you know, area. So anyway, a lot of the time I'll be sitting downstairs trying to learn from Alexis, just, you know, seeing all the shit that she's cooking and putting together and everything like that, because she's got it all figured out. She's the mastermind with all this shit, so I just let her do her thing. Basically, just according to the title of this video, I ended up basically losing a fight to a jar of tomato sauce. I know that sounds fucking stupid, but I promise you, I literally got rocked by a jar of tomato sauce. A lot of things with grains and stuff like that, I haven't had beef in a good amount of time. I had way too much red meat throughout my life anyway. It's not like a vegetarian diet or whatever. Still can have some chicken, turkey, things like that, but it's a lot less calories, a lot more fruit, a lot less real, like, processed shit and sugar and all that stuff. So as much as I love that shit, I am not gonna front to you guys. I love that shit. I want a fucking Big Mac and an extra large fucking fry with a giant milkshake. You have no idea. I'm so tired of people pretending when they're on these diets that they just don't crave it. You're lying. Especially people I know that ate this shit with me before they switched up, okay? I'm not hating. I'm just saying, stop lying. I don't believe. I get it. You swap over to a different diet and then your stomach shrinks if you know, if you've been overeating a long time and then you go and, you know, eating a normal amount and blah, blah, blah. Then maybe you start tasting how processed it is and all this other ew, yucky bullshit. Whatever. You're fucking lying if you don't want a damn donut. I'm sorry. You just are. It's a donut. And if you got some sort of allergy and all this other shit, okay, yeah, that's fair, but it would be nice to be able to eat a donut though, right? So part of this diet, whenever we're, you know, trying to cook things, a lot of the things like, you know, seasoning and sauces and all sorts of other shit are coming in jars. So when we're putting this shit together, you'll see soon, because I'm going to be putting up a Jev's Cafe as well, eventually, soon. Within the next week and a half, some shit like that, I'm going to have a Jev's Cafe, a Rage Taj, all sorts of shit. Part of cooking this shit is obviously all the ingredients and stuff, and we had a jar of tomato sauce, okay? So I go to try to open it, and I am struggling, like to the point to where my hand was hurting. I was sitting there for about 5 minutes fumbling around, struggling with this thing, until eventually I put it to my chest, and I twisted the top off, and it popped off, and I was like, wow, I need a whole lot of torque when I put it real close to my body like that. I don't know what's up with it doing it like this, but I get a lot of torque trying to open shit like this. I started making a habit out of it, and then she would make a habit out of, hey, I don't feel like hurting my hands, can you open these jars for me? So I'm sitting here just doing the typical shit where I'm just sitting off to the side and trying to learn, trying to understand this shit, and she'll just start handing me things, and I just try to pop them open. Me habitually doing it like this, I got to a jar yesterday that was unfucking stoppable. I couldn't do anything with it. I twisted it and put the sleeve over my hand to try to pat it a little bit, maybe have a little bit of extra grip or some shit. I put a fucking glove on. I couldn't open the shit until one of the times I put absolutely every ounce of my being and strength I possibly could into it. Using this GFUEL tub as, you know, an example, I'm trying to twist it open. Took a paper towel just like this, a little sheet, put it right over top of it like this. I just tried to open it to the best of my abilities, just like this. And it was so difficult to open that when I was twisting it, I ended up slipping off the top of the jar like that, slipped off the jar, and I pushed the jar up, and it hit me in my fucking chin. And when it hit me in my chin, my upper lip ended up, like, somehow getting caught on my teeth up here. I scraped the inside of my mouth, right? I don't think I could show, like, blood on YouTube or whatever, so. And I literally rocked the fuck out of myself with a jar. I hit myself in the chin and stumbled backwards and sat down. And Alexis is like, she was like fucking freaking out and shit. I literally almost knocked myself the fuck out with a jar. Whenever you get knocked out, okay? Now, the only time I've ever been unconscious is when I've been choked unconscious, back when I was doing like jujitsu and shit like that. But I've been choked unconscious. I've felt what it's like to not be able to breathe and then just lose consciousness. It's fucking terrifying. A lot of people, for whatever reason, think that getting knocked out hurts. Not necessarily. Obviously, it all depends on how you're gonna get knocked out, but whenever you see people like getting punched in the chin or some shit like that, and they get stunned and they're like rocked and shit, you're still there. Like, you just get stunned. Like, your body just doesn't do what you're commanding. Everything is fine in here, but when it hit me, I fucking stumbled back and shit, nearly fell on my ass, sat down in the chair real quick before I ended up eating shit, dropping the jar and everything. So now my upper lip is like swollen on the inside. It's bouncing off like my 2 front teeth right here, and since it like some of the skin like from the gums and shit like that are like kind of fucked up from the edge of the jar hitting me in the mouth. Honestly, really lucky I didn't break my fucking front tooth in half like I did when I was younger. Yeah, little fun fact right here, this tooth, half of it's fake. So my upper lip is swollen and I almost knocked myself the fuck out with a jar of tomato sauce. I lost a fight to a jar of tomato sauce.